What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 14 of my Total Warhammer 3 Boris Ursus campaign. So as we saw last time, Boris has arrived at the mansion of the Plague God. Though his army is badly damaged, he is going to go into this battle this very turn without healing up, for the simple reason that we are under siege. In fact, we're under siege pretty much everywhere. The orcs are attacking the gates of Tzar, and hopefully Yerogni Zinoviev can relieve this territory, but who the heck knows. We got a pile of ogres sieging the Tzar and Nagrund. We still have this damn little incursion Nurglite force, and then, biggest of all and most importantly, a massive amount of enemy armies, 3.5 full stacks about to hit Karak Ungor. And in fact, since Karak Ungor is probably going to fall, I mean, there's no way it's standing up to 4 or 3.5 stacks. We might be better off deleting the farm estate here and replacing it with another wall building. I guess it really depends on how many turns it takes to siege, because Boris is going to appear here, and then it'll take him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns to get here. Well, if these guys... 5 turns might actually not be that bad in full march stance, because I feel like he might be able to reach Kazadir Kulaz, and maybe we won't need those walls then. Okay, maybe we won't build those. Also, I have had another idea. As we saw last episode, Katerin was willing to do a military alliance with us, and if she's willing to do a military alliance, perhaps we could get her on board with killing these guys, or at least helping out with them a little bit more. Now, unfortunately, we don't have enough allegiance with her for any kind of war coordination, but at the very least, let's see, she's already fighting the Bearsling, but it doesn't look like she's fighting the Sylvanians, so perhaps we ask her to join the war against the Sylvanians as well. There we go. Maybe that'll turn her from attacking this territory uselessly. Propose offer. There you go. So now we have a military alliance with the Ice Court, which, I mean, makes sense. And then maybe she'll help us out with this. Let's also double check that war coordination, shall we? Let's see. War coordination. Yeah, we have an allegiance of 8. So select target. You have an insufficient... Cheapest available target is 10, but these guys are full stacks and might even be more expensive. I don't know how it's actually calculated, but I guess we'll see. Okay, and we got a little army here and a little army here. Obviously, we don't have the allegiance for this. I just wanted to check. Yeah, that's not worthwhile. But maybe she'll help us out against the Sylvanians. Now, a couple more things. Let's see. For the alliance, enter a military alliance with any faction. Hey, we got a free war banner, which is kind of garbage right now, but still. And we need to get 20 allegiance with any allied faction. Okay, we'll work on it. Now, I believe we have also found a couple of other factions. Yeah, Wissenland. Let us get an alliance, a trade agreement, and a military access agreement with you. And let's balance that offer. There we go. All right, not bad, Wissenland. Not bad at all. Next up, who do we have? Let's go to quick deal for trade agreement, minus 3.3 on Hawkland, unfortunately. Ropsman we're still going to be ignoring, and I believe that's it in terms of getting any good trade agreements going. Now, speaking of trade agreements, there was a comment last episode about whether we should be getting the extra trade resources agreement, or research right now, and the way I understand it from Game 2 is that sort of upgrade, the increase in the number of resources, is good when you have a lot of trading partners, and terrible because when you have a few trading partners, because you'll probably never sell all of your goods. But for once, and this is very rare for me, we have a ton of trading partners available for the Ice Court, so it's pretty likely that we're going to be able to sell all of our products to somebody. So I think this will work out at the end of the day. Plus, we really need more money, and this is the way to do it. So we're going to go Harbor Cartel, and then right after that, we're going to go through Harbor Master's Authority. It's just that this is going to take many, many times longer, whereas this is quicker, and it'll be a shorter return. Even if we get an extra like 100 or 200 money out of this, I think it'll be worthwhile, and it'll be obviously combined with all of this. So yeah, we'll see. This is unfortunate though. Oh, although maybe we stop this for 1 turn to get. Oh man, yeah, I was looking for this, but Norse Hatred is going to take 10 turns. If we had had it, it would have been useful. And then same with Prague Veterans. Both of these upgrades together would have helped us on the defense, but at this point, I guess we're just going to go Harbor Cartel. We're going to get Norse Hatred anyway as we move through this, but it's definitely not coming up before the Norse attack us, so it won't give us any benefit right now. Alrighty, well, that's about it. Let's just double check that there's nothing to upgrade right now. We do still have a lot of cash, but, you know, we need to save it, as we could go negative at any point, especially if smaller factions stop trading with us. Ooh, we also have another Another Bear Witch Project question. Oh, right, and I guess nobody had an answer to this last episode as to whether these things stack. I'm just gonna hope that they do, and I'm gonna get Artillerist for you, even though it feels like perhaps we're more likely to get war sleds in an army than we are a bunch of little Groms, but who knows? Who knows? I want to rely on different types of armies anyway. So let's go artillery, although we could hedge against it not stacking and go Ice Charioteer here, but then it sort of locks us into, or forces us to get war sleds in this army. And while we are keeping heavy war sleds in Boris's, I mean, I guess we could give you light war sleds. You know what, I really want to find out if this stacks or not. If it does, then at least I'll know for the future for different types of decisions, so we'll go with that. Plus, we could always get another Lord with a better stat line. Anyway, before we attack, we are going to spend our points, which means Deadly Onslaught for Boris, which should be helpful in this particular battle. There you go, Boris. And then Beledna Gospodar, you can have... Scouting won't... I don't think it'll work here. I'm kind of tempted to go Crystal Sanctuary. We do have Ice Maiden's Kiss maxed out. Yeah, let's go Crystal Sanctuary, just in case we run into some terrible, terrible situation. Ooh, you also get Immortality. I'd love to get you your healer, but who knows? What if you get, like, personally attacked by the Gardener or something like that? Speaking of the Gardener, this is the main thing to do this episode, so let's get to it. Alrighty, there he is with his 26,000 HP, but fortunately we have a lot of anti-large bears, which should be able to take care of it for us. Let's find out if they can.
The mansion of the Plague Lord. The crooked manor of Nurgle. None would survive crossing its threshold, but the Gardener will come as soon as we trespass upon its outer defenses. Capture the Canker Tree in the Garden of Blight. This will give you a foothold and grant us supplies to reinforce for the struggle ahead. There are 2 other trees you will need to claim, and so dominate the battle. Nurgle is amused you have made it this far. Slay his servants, and ensure he will not mock you again. Might.
Alrighty, so we have arrived at the Garden of Nurgle over here, and as always, it looks pretty damn nice. I really like all of the Chaos Realms and what they've done for the battles of over the Demon's Souls, or the Demon Prince Souls. Now, in terms of our army, obviously, once again, we are going into it, i.e. into the battle, pretty damn beat up. In fact, a couple of our units are so badly damaged that I feel like we can't really... you can't really make good use of them, so I am going to teleport withdraw them off the field of battle right here. This was actually an attempt to see whether if we, by teleporting them off field, we could overcome the I forgot what to call this thing. You know, like you can't regenerate health past a certain point. And I was hoping that if we teleported them back, they would technically come back as a quote-unquote new unit, which would allow us to heal them afterwards. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, not the case. When they come back still with that limit on how much they can heal. But oh well, once again, and as always, we can overcome, because these battles, they're pretty darn easy, except the camera jumping around annoyingly. Alrighty, Boris is in here by himself. It's just a bunch of plague bearers. They stand no real chance of hurting or killing him, as they don't have armor-piercing damage. He's having kind of a difficult time attacking them, though. Some of the enemies are also getting gunned down by our lines of... Oh, wow, this looks really pretty with the light reflecting on the water, though I'm not entirely sure what this is actually reflecting here. What is this reflecting? Huh. Because there's no, like, major source of light. What is this, exactly? I mean, obviously, it's. I was about to say the warp, but yeah, well, close enough. The ether and, you know, the craziness of light not being there but actually being there is pretty up there. So I take it this is Nurgle in the sky back there. You can just barely see the shadow. Looks like a very large Great Unclean One. Actually reminds me of the cover of the Palace of the Plague Lord book, which I've been referring to every time I'm thinking of the Mansion of the Plague Lord, because damn that book title, man. Confuses me every time. Honestly, I feel like the corn manifestation is much more menacing than the Nurgle one for whatever reason. Corn appears sort of like above you when the lightning strikes, and I don't know. Nurgle's just like sort of watching, but then again, Nurgle's pretty jolly, so maybe he's not supposed to be all that menacing. Whatever the hell that is, some kind of tumor on a tree. Delicious. Anyway, let's get back to the actual battle. Obviously, this is just the enemies surrounding the first of the tower defense points, and they are going to stand no chance, especially once our bears are in here. I do apologize about the camera jumping up and down. I have no control over that. And there we go. These guys surrounded by bears, and you can see the demons are already starting to disintegrate. All they had was Nurgling's plague bearers and a single beast of Nurgle, and yeah, nothing here was really any kind of threat. Looks like the beast is actually trying to go for Boris, who's having kind of a tough time. I'm hoping that once mods are in, you know that there was a mod that adds like commanders to units, and it gives them like extra armor and like cool looking gear and stuff like that. We could probably recycle the gear from Boris's mount and then put that on commanders, or at least parts of it, because it's a damn cool skin. Or I suppose the mount of the lords as well, because it's a little bit more fancy than all of the rest of the armors of the bear cab. Anyway, man, this beast of Nurgle is taking quite a while to go down, although it looks like it's just about to pop. Now, what does the Beast of Nurgle add to the Nurgle roster in terms of comparison to the Great Unclean One, I do wonder. I haven't had a lot of chances to play around with those two, and with the Nurgle faction in particular, as obviously I haven't been running a Nurgle campaign. I've only seen them in action, and gonna have to make that comparison at some point. I like what it does. Ooh, lots of these. Those are some damn giant grubs in the ground there. It would be kind of neat if there were environmental hazards. I've talked about this before. Also, we're going to speed this up a little bit, as this is the first of the tower defense locations. There we go. And I want to give this a start. I don't want to wait. Now, we did set up two of these barriers here, where we are going to start by setting up our armored Kossars, but they're soon going to be joined by some summoned units as soon as we've spent enough money to summon a bunch of towers. Now, our towers are pretty effective. It looks like they can actually hit the enemy, although to be fair, the Nurgle forces are fairly slow. I'd like to make a comparison of these ice towers with the Hell Cannon towers that I dislike so much in the Demon Prince campaign. Now, these things seem to be okay. I mean, this is a unit of Poxslot Riders, Plague Toads, and if this was a Fell Cannon bunch, they wouldn't have hit a single one, and they're at about half HP. Now, in terms of the enemy Plague Bearers, I'm willing to bet they're going to suffer. Yeah, as you can see, a lot of them are taking quite a bit of damage. Oh, this, I guess, is a time to take a look at the stats of the Beast of Nurgle. So we got armor piercing, lower attack, and armor 32, 34. And it's armor piercing, regeneration, poison attacks. Yeah, so what exactly is different about it than... Is it just like an inferior form of the Great Unclean One? It is probably quite a bit faster, though. I believe the Great Unclean One is slow as heck. And it's also... And the Great Unclean One's obviously also got like twice as much HP, if not more. But otherwise... I mean, yeah, Vanilla does have a tendency to build a bunch of units that are just like straight up upgrades / downgrades to each other, like the War Sleds, for example, like the heavy War Sleds being just better in every way than the light War Sleds, and not that much difference. And I feel like it's really easy to make these units like differ from each other. For example, give the light War Sleds Vanguard deployment and don't give it to the heavy War Sleds. There you go. Suddenly they have some value and would, you know, be able to be used as a lighter harassing force and charging into the enemy backlines much easier than the heavy War Sleds. Easy. Come on, Vanilla. Try a little bit harder. But hey, that's what mods are for. And the same thing obviously goes for a lot of units. You got your plague drones and your rot flies. You got your pox riders and your plague toads. All in all, every faction. Exalted versions of, you know, plague bearers and demonettes and all that sort of stuff. What are these plague toads doing? They're just trying to break through, and maybe they were going after this particular... Yeah, I think they were trying to go after this sled, although this one's just being pushed around by the sled until it dies. I have no idea what's going on with these plague toads. At least they look really at home, and oh, they disappeared. They look really at home in this, like, murky, disgusting swamp water that we've got going here. Okay, this light is actually now freaking me out as to why, what it's from exactly, and I still can't tell. But oh well, not a big deal. Let's check back on the battle. The wave is now at 62%, and we're doing pretty darn decently. In terms of the setup, we do still have our barriers, but now, as I was saying earlier, we have Streltsy on top of them, shooting the enemy. And with the extra 20% range on these guys, they've got pretty darn crazy range, which is really nice. Although they're kind of having a difficult time shooting at this guy because of, I guess, the Warbear Riders. And there we go. Obviously, we have our ice sheet going down to stop them. I really wish that there was like a sort of fire at will function, and yes, I know that there's fire at will, but not in the way that I'm thinking. Fire at will function for individual units, wherein the individual soldiers of the unit don't target a specific enemy unit, but target whatever they can reach. I.e., you know how you have to constantly juggle who ranged units target because, you know, they lose their firing arcs or whatever? Well, yeah, just to be able to counter that by telling them to fire at will, because it's silly that an entire unit sort of just stands there, not firing, potentially for an entire battle, if you haven't noticed. And, yeah, like these guys, they haven't fired a volley in a while now, I suppose because the bears are blocking them, but you know that those individual soldiers would be able to get a shot on a lot of those plague bearers right here. I mean, look at this. There's plenty of space to fire over there, even if you can't fire into this portion of the blob, and down here. But they're obviously targeting something specific. And man, that beast is really trying to break through this wall over here. Also, let's check back. We're at 30% now. For whatever reason, it looks like the enemy has attacked us via this path and this path, all funneling over here, but not trying to use this path to get through. Similar sort of thing over here where they're going into the barricade, but the Streltsy are gunning them down. I also want to point out that the Streltsy have lost not a lot of their ammo at all by virtue of the fact that they're kind of having a difficult time firing, I guess, because of the bears. Whereas comparatively, the various armored Cossars have indeed lost a lot of their ammo. At least, well, these ones haven't, but to be fair, there was no enemy here, so, you know, makes sense. Alrighty, well, this wave is pretty darn easy. Ooh, I like how there's eyes in the... It looks like a rock, but it looks like a, like, pockmarked rock. Freaky. On the bright side, these defenses are really fun. I do wish we had some Zargard, but I think we can overcome that by, you know, summoning some Zargard later. Oh, look at these Forsaken finally charging the Streltsy line up here. Although, once again, yeah, it really doesn't look like the Streltsy are shooting a lot. Like, fire down. There you go, there you go. It's not that difficult. Like, you can literally lean over the little parapet or whatever you want to call this, well, barricade, I guess, and fire down into these Forsaken. Yeah. I'm hoping they unbugify this. They have their chance, after all. And yeah, obviously it's not like the entire unit of Streltsy up here. There's like half of them are still down here, but yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, this portion of the wave is just about done. All the enemies are disintegrating. The towers have provided a decent amount of support, and though some of our bears got hurt and went down, we are obviously able to heal them and resurrect the combatants via spending some supply. Yeah, these guys got pretty badly beat up, but you know, we needed to guard this. Otherwise, the barricade would have just gone down. There we go. Now it's just a matter of killing all these, well, Nurglings. We've actually sallied out with large portions of our bear cab. You can see how relatively non-seriously we can take these particular battles for the Demon Souls, because once again, they're easy enough as to require very little in the way of strategy. And I like how all the Nurglings just jumped up and disintegrated simultaneously. That was pretty funny. Anyway, now that that is done, let's head over to Wave 2, or at least move up our forces up here. I'm going to speed it up once again until our units are ready to engage, and here we are. A bunch of Forsaken are charging. We're going to get an Ice Sheet down on them to stop them for a second, while our Patriarch and our Ice Switch, or our Frost Maiden, charge them, followed by some more Bear Cav. There we go. Smacking those... or forcing those Forsaken back and doing pretty good damage. We also have some support coming in from one of our Ice Magic towers here. That was pathetic. They're not even moving. Come on, Ice Tower. There you go. That's much better. Well done. Well done. Over here, same sort of thing is happening. Boris is charged in by himself while the rest of his cav follow suit. And these are just Plague Bearers as well. They're gonna have an even worse time fighting these guys than the Forsaken are, I think, generally speaking. At the very least, the Forsaken have a ton of armor. Alrighty, and I just want to see... Forsaken of Nurgle have, 85 armor as compared to the 25 of the regular Plague Bearers. And obviously the Warbear Riders are armor piercing, but nonetheless, this portion of the enemy flank is broken, or this enemy flank is broken. The other one should follow suit very, very quickly. I always find it funny how we got some stuff that moves and some stuff that doesn't. Like, this bug, it never moves, it's just sort of like stuck. It's very strange. Man, well, if you've been itching to see thousands upon thousands of Plague Bearers get absolutely ripped apart by War Bears, well, you've come to the right place. Also, we're getting some support in from our Kossars and our Streltsy. I think it's just Kossars right now. The Streltsy are moving up to provide some support as well. We also have our light war sleds firing. And this is going to be probably one of the last battles that Boris is going to get to use those light war sleds, because we're just going to replace them all with heavy war sleds. And there we go, here come the Streltsy, going to get a few more volleys in. I really love their gun axes. That's perfect. Gun axe is the way to go. And it looks like we're done here. We're going to speed it up once again as we try to capture this location and set up for Wave 2. Alright, come on there. Got a few shots into those running enemies, and Wave 1, we can see that a bunch of our points have been spent on getting those extra ice towers up, as they do pretty well. Once again, I do wish that we had a what's it called? Like a statistic, like a thing that kept track of the damage on the towers. Like this freaky tree, but it's not as freaky as that tree where we, like outside the realm, that big ol' great tree out there. This was just a much smaller tumor tree. They call this a tumor tree. You can do better, Nurgle. Come on. And this is your own garden. You can grow a much bigger tumor tree. You heard me. Oh, wait. Huh. There's another entrance here. Oh, I didn't see that last 2 or 3 times I've gone into this particular location. Let's also slow down the battle a little bit while we're away. Yeah, I didn't see that there was another little entrance to the mansion as side door. Huh. And there's another side door over here, but this one's... actually, there's a lot of entrances to it. Interesting, interesting. I take it that this is supposed to be human architecture. It's kind of hard to tell, but it does sort of look like it. But it's also... Ooh, I really like that piece. I didn't notice that one either. Like, this is like the part of the wall has turned into a maw. That's very nice, and it's standard for doorways, but these are just like sides of the fortress here. I wonder if they had any. By them, I mean the Men in Black. No, I mean the devs. I wonder if they have a reason for going with the type of architecture that they did for the mansion of the Plague God here. I always like to take a look at the architecture of various things in the in these games. Or here we go. Anyway, let's get back to it. Wave 2 is at 92%, but none of that is because of our army. I actually went past our army. None of that is because of our army, or rather it is because of the towers shooting down lots and lots of enemies. Oh, we got some plague drones moving in, but they're facing down some Streltsy. And just like in Yarogni's army, I just love watching the Streltsy fire. There we go, knock those plague drones out of the sky. And at least stagger them. Oh, it looks like they don't want to play. A little Grom, as you can see, is firing at them too. Yeah, maybe don't charge directly at a ranged unit AI, maybe move them around. Alrighty, it looks like we got a Beast of Nurgle leading a bunch of Plague Bearers coming in. Portals keep coming up and coming up, being vomited into existence by the warp. Alrighty, but yeah, the Plague Bearers honestly are just so non-threatening. The basic troops of the the Nurgle faction against towers are just so garbage because they move so damn slowly. And I guess against range units in general, but yeah. I feel like they in this particular battle, it should have been using Exalted Plague Bearers rather than regular Plague Bearers, because at least they have some ranged ability. I mean, if you were going to make super slow units that were trying to traverse your tower defense. Alrighty, here they come. Here we just have our Kossars defending, but as soon as they get in there, we have our Warbear Riders over on this side. Oh, and I was going to talk about this. Remember when I said I would summon some Zargard? Yes, well, the Zargard has been summoned, and there we go. A little bit of a preview for what Boris's army is going to have later on when we actually get him those said Zargard that I want in the army. Looking like they work pretty well with bears. Also, their gear looks very, very similar, I mean, for obvious reasons, to the Warbear Riders, so it looks like a nice, cohesive army. And the reason that I mentioned that is because the Streltsy and the Armored Kossars. Well, actually, the Armored Kossars also look pretty similar, but, I want to check out their hats for a second. I get distracted by things. Yeah, they do have very similar hats to the Zargard here, but, yeah, the Streltsy do look pretty different anyway. Here we go. I'm back to this. We are now at 67% of the wave, and it looks like it's not getting any more difficult over here. Enemies charged in with that Beast of Nurgle, but we counter it with with our heroes, Beledna Gospodar, as well as our Patriarch. And though they are not amazing fighters, they're certainly good enough to take down a Beast of Nurgle, especially with the help of a bunch of armored Kossars or Warbear Riders. It's so bizarre watching slow Nurgle armies charge in once you've seen like thousands upon thousands of much faster armies like Nakari's army and the Nakari campaign. I'm so used to the Slaneshi units moving so fast, and these guys are so bizarrely slow. I'm gonna be very interested to see how a Kugath campaign goes when I eventually get around to it. It'd be pretty fun actually making use of these units when trying to compensate for their weaknesses, obviously. Alrighty, well, at least they have the numbers here to at least, well, if not overwhelm us, at least approach us. Not that I think that it's going to go too well for them. We've also resummoned, as I was talking about, those Warbear Riders that were hurt. As I said, I was hoping that they would be able to heal up to full, but unfortunately not the case. And it also didn't seem to reduce the cost that it took to resummon them. So despite the fact that there were only 8 units in the 8 individual models in the unit, or entities in the unit, they still cost about 2,000 supplies to summon, and the fact that they had like 33% of their HP remaining still because of the reduction on healing. Oh wow, this beast has actually done a pretty good job hurting our Streltsy over here. Of course, it's now going to get charged by Boris, as well as a bunch of Warbear Riders, and it's getting hit by our War Sled, so it ain't gonna survive too much longer. There we go. And other than that, I do believe this wave is just about over, 9% remaining. There's still some enemies moving out there, but yeah, here they're melting, and it'll be done pretty soon. And then we'll have the Gardener to face. Alrighty, see, as I was saying, though our army started out pretty badly damaged, doesn't really matter. Nurgle units are too weak. And there we go, wave 2 is done. We're gonna speed it up once again, moving past this tree, the wall of, I don't know, putrid flesh? The wall of twisted flesh is the Slaneshi one. I don't remember what this one is called. Goes down, and then we proceed to these guys. Also, we haven't been getting a lot of mileage out of our little Grom, but that's, well, I mean, there's no pitch to, what the hell is going on here? The heck? Oh, Tumor's doing something. Yeah, so because this isn't really a pitched battle, and a lot of stuff is blocking everything, it's really hard to get line of sight and have a lot of mileage out of that little Grom. As you can see, though, it's been on the field the entire time, and I have not recovered its ammunition ever. It's only used about, I want to say 15 to 20%. The best use of it, I guess, was when I was standing here and firing at those flying units, and I do believe it did the same thing to the other sides. But anyway, speed it back up to normal, or to super fast, which is not normal. But hey, at least it keeps up with my unnecessarily fast way of talking. There we go. Now we're just going to set up our ranged line and let the enemies come towards us. There we go. This should be fun. See, I expected these things to be more like this, like a nearly infinite set of enemy units, with us still having crazy defenses, mind you, but actually like gunning down all these enemies. Like a survival sort of map. Those poor Forsaken men, they seem to be walking really slowly considering they're trying to charge a gun line. Hurry up, come on. There we go, now they're charging the Streltsy. And they're almost here. There we go, but as soon as they arrive, we're gonna send Boris in and we're gonna countercharge them with our own bears. And oh, here we go, here comes a great unclean one. So I wanted to see this. So you have 55-45 in terms of melee attack and defense, armor piercing, causes terror, and poison attacks. Oh, you don't have regeneration like the Beast of Nurgle does? Is that what you're telling me right now? Because the Beast of Nurgle had regeneration. You have wounds? Huh, perhaps you don't. Interesting. So I guess that's what the Beast of Nurgle has up on you. And actually, your speed is 36 and the Beast of Nurgle was 40, so it's not that much faster than you. I feel like they should make the Beast of Nurgle then faster, just to differentiate it a little bit more. But anyway, this guy's gonna come in to try to help, but unfortunately for him, Warbear Riders are anti-large, and yeah, this is not a good matchup for a great unclean one. In fact, I think this is probably, out of all the campaigns I've done this far, and I think this is the third or fourth time I am doing the Nurgle battle. It's sometimes taken a while to bring down the great unclean ones, but I generally think that the Warbears will probably have the easiest time by far with this. In fact, we don't even care about forcing all of our units to surround this thing, because our Warbear Riders will take care of it. I believe I ordered like a couple of units to attack it, plus the heroes. At least our mage, and let's see how badly beat up you've been. Yeah, see, it's already down to 33 HP, or 33% HP, and it's not done too much damage. Having fun there, buddy? There we go, down a big fella. And I believe the defenders of the third location are down for the count as well, and we can move forward to the last one. Now I'm hoping that we'll be able to summon some elemental bears, as once again, yet another preview of what we're going to be able to get when we max out Boris's army. Obviously, everybody's going to move in here, and we are going to once again build up those platforms, wherein we can hopefully gun the enemy down, as it looks like we have a much clearer line of sight here than we did before. Oh, here comes the gardener. Alrighty, there he is with plenty of portals, but unfortunately for him, mostly it's all plague bearers, or mostly if not all plague bearers. Especially since they're all going into one blob, they're gonna have a bad time of it. And yes, indeed, we were able to summon our elemental bear to duel the gardener. Well, I guess with the help of all these Zargard and stuff. We've actually summoned some greatsword Zargard as well to help shore up our defenses here. And let's take a look at how we are set up. We've spent most of our supply getting those magic towers up and running because once again they're pretty damn decent and they kill plenty of Nurgle forces. They're also going to take a while to get to us, so we have plenty of time to kill the Demon Prince. Zargard blocking where the barricades are not, and the barricades are obviously getting filled up with Streltsy and other units, i.e. Armored Cossars. Same thing over here, but honestly this is the main portion of the battle, so this is really the one to watch. Hey, there's that explosion spell. Nice. Alright, you got this, Boris and the bear. Well, Boris and the bears. The many, many, many bears. There we go. The elemental bears coming in. We're also getting an ice sheet down and a heart of winter right in the middle of this blob of plague bears. They can now move at 10 to 17 speed. Man, that's pretty awful between the ice sheet and that heart of winter. I feel bad for them. I mean, I suppose they don't... Oh, down to 7 speed now. 2 speed. They're basically forced to completely stand still. That's how much ice we have going on at the same time. Not too bad. And after that Heart of Winter, let's check back on these. 4 units of Plague Bears got pretty much completely deleted by an overcast Heart of Winter spell. Now it's just a matter of killing the Gardener while the rest of their forces just, fail to get here because they're still not here and the wave is down. Oh, although one of the Plague Drones did arrive. Not really worried about any of that. Can't wait to see how powerful the elemental bears are going to be when we can actually buff them up. And what's your base stats? Because you have no buffs from this army. Oh wow, your melee defense is only at 20. Although I guess you are a larger entity, and they do tend to have relatively low melee defense, generally speaking. Oh, you also do magic damage, which is quite nice, and you've got quite a bit of armor. Armored piercing, causes terror, unbreakable. The unbreakable is also quite nice as well. Ooh, another one of those going down and dishing out splash and magical damage to our units. Yeah, see how that thing exploded? I feel like those should have been occasionally happening everywhere as you moved up. Yes, it would have been extremely irritating, but it would have made the battle quite a bit more difficult, wouldn't it? Especially it's weird that your armies don't really suffer any kind of attrition while they're here. Although, to have them constantly deplete HP would have also been probably pretty annoying, so it's kind of hard to make this difficult that way. I'm standing by that thing I said where it should have been like a survival-like thing where there were like hordes upon hordes of enemy plague bears charging us. Alrighty, Gardener, how you doing here, buddy? You are now at about 40% HP and dropping. In fact, your leadership is almost up, and then Boris and the bears will be able to take care of you. Over on the flanks, however, the enemies have finally reached us, and they're dishing out some damage. Enough, I think, that we had to send in our light war sleds to support us, as well as the rest of our war bear cab. But it's pretty nice. Obviously, the units that were actually on the barricades and the Zargard as well are just summoned units. We don't care about them. We're also summoning more units and sending everybody in to reinforce here as well. We got Griffin Legion. First time we get to use Griffin Legion, and you gotta love the way these things look. Their armor and everything is just magnificent. Absolutely love this unit. The barding on those horses is just perfect. Damn. Once again, I just want to say, and I've said this before, but they absolutely put the Imperial Knights to shame, don't they? Empire must be pretty jealous of that gear. Alrighty, well done, Griffin Legion. So yeah, we just keep summoning reinforcements to deal with this while the enemy Lord continues taking his beat down. He's in call for power and out of control, dishing out 891 weapon strength, but that's going to be nowhere near enough, and he will go down in a few seconds. Off camera. Alright, I really wanted to see who's gonna get the last hit, that's why I'm not looking away. I wonder how the Griffin Legion are doing over there. And there we go, finally, he goes down. It looked like the Elemental Bear got the last hit, but it could have been anybody, I suppose. Boris was also hitting him from the other side. Looks like the Griffin Legion charged in, and they're not damaged. Stats are pretty good, 39, 37, considering they're unbuffed, and they got a lot of armor as well. Certainly something to be used over those winged lancers, and they're probably quite a bit less fragile as well. And there we go, folks. Another Demon Soul is ours. I'm just going to speed up the rest of this because all the enemy units are melting, and the battle is over. Very nice. Oh, there's another little tree here. Not as tumor-y as that other tree, though. Alright then, as expected, it did go fairly easily because, well, these battles are designed to be pretty easy with all the access to all that stuff you get with the heals and the supplies and all the extra units and stuff. Quite swell. We didn't even need to get any of the extra Warbear riders in there. The Zargard helped out. Obviously, Boris's army as it currently is not really designed to be a defensive army. It really leans in to offensive stuff. So the Warbears, while they can certainly defend, are obviously not going to be as adept at it. I'm hoping that if we get the 4 or so units of Zargard in here, then that will essentially shore up that one weakness on those rare times when Boris does need to defend. Otherwise, we got a decent amount of devotion, treasury, and XP, and we are going to 3k money or 30 devotion. It's a decent amount of devotion, but it's also a decent amount of money. We are probably going to... Oh, right, Damn, I forgot I was going to try something here. Wait, let me just see this. You are going to go into... Let's see, Salyak heals us, but I don't think we need it. You know what, let's go for Pardon Captives, I think. Even though I'm about to waste a bunch of devotion, but nonetheless. We're also going to be recruiting stuff fairly soon. Alright, cutscene. Be'lakor.
The first soul harvested. When all 4 have been gathered, they will combine into a single light, revealing a shadow path to the Forge of Souls. Then Ursun will be within our reach. But what's this? The tome consumes the soul's energy, reaching across time, revealing secrets.
It was the Old Ones that shaped this world into a paradise. Yet the power they harnessed to move sun and rock could not be tamed. Raw magic erupted from the great cataclysm, flowing forth from a realm of chaos. So came the demons. They hunted the mortals, feeding on their souls. Yet one of their prey betrayed his kin and embraced the gods of chaos. They gifted him demonhood, and he became the first demon prince, Be'lakor. He clawed at the world, scarred it with his armies, reveling in the bloodshed. Those who seek power will always want more, and Be'lakor's lust was the greatest of all.
gods of chaos? Have I not fed you souls? Have I not given you the world? Give me more power. Answer me!
The four gods punished the demon prince for his arrogance. They took everything. His armies, his power, his form. Cursed to roam the world as a shadow amongst the shadows, powerless for eternity.
Damn the gods.
Be'lakor has spent millennia planning his revenge on the Chaos Gods. What twisted scheme has his dark mind constructed?
Alrighty, for those who have seen that cutscene for like 15 times already, yeah, I hope that you realize that there were timestamps in the comments below, or not in the comments below, in the, well, in the video, chapters, timestamps, whatever, you know. Anyway, there we go, we've won and we've gotten our first soul off the love of...
lands once more, having ventured into the realm of chaos. The Tome of Fates thrums with the power of the twisted soul trapped in its pages. To reach the Forge of Souls, we require 3 more. We are not the only ones who seek the dying god. They employ their own methods to cross the veil into the realm of chaos. We must act with haste.
I made this comment in previous Let's Plays, or other Let's Plays, I should say, other campaigns. How can we act with haste? We don't control when the bear will roar again, and when we can hit him. Now, let's take a look at who's doing well here. It looks like the Exiles of Khorne have got 2, and the Poxmakers are looking like they're going to get 2. So our goal, then, is to save Slaanesh or wait until we meet Skarbrand. Yeah, if we can wait until we meet Skarbrand in the realm of Slaanesh, because we can't go back to Nurgle, we can stop him there and then prevent him from doing anything. So I guess that's the way to do it. Although, unfortunately, Slaanesh is probably the hardest one to... hardest one. Well, Slaanesh is the hardest one to stop another faction at. Although once you get closer to the inner circles, it is certainly a possibility. Although I guess you don't need to stop him, i.e., kill his army. Although it would really help to cripple the faction to kill his army there as well. But it's also pretty easy if you start on Slaanesh immediately to go through those circles real quick. As for the Poxmakers, who clearly are about to get their second one, since they're the only ones in the realm of Slaanesh and no one will stop them, I don't think they're a problem. The reason for that is we're close to the Poxmakers down here. At the very least, most of their stuff is here, right? So we should be able to destroy Kugath if we need to. And we probably will need to, so I don't see that being too much of a threat. Now, unfortunately, I am going to have to call this episode here. I have no idea when commenting over the soul battles just how long they will take to comment, and yeah, well, that's basically my reason. So if the episode ends up being really short or really long, sorry about that, but I can't keep track of that, as it is not quite possible. Anyway, next time, we have a lot of work to get to with this. Boris is going to need to immediately auto-resolve this little pathetic army here, and then book it all the way here before these guys attack. Also, on top of that, I think at the start of the next episode, we're going to pop a temporary invocation, not dodge, but either Ursun for the extra attrition to the enemies while they're sieging, considering we're being sieged in a lot of locations, or the Tor one that gives us extra melee attack and the Wrath of the Bear buff, both of which could be quite helpful for us. I mean, so could the Bitterness of Winter debuff as well. Kind of hard to pick between the two. Now, in terms of the fact that these guys are going to wait here 5 turns, it possibly is best off to just force them into attrition, since they're all going to be sieging here. However, that same invocation will be useless against these guys is next turn. If they don't attack, we will be attacking them with Uragni. And then here, well, actually, these guys could be forced to suffer attrition, although this guy's in raiding, so that won't do. But this guy will suffer attrition. Yeah, so that's probably what we're going to do unless anybody has any suggestions otherwise. And as well, well, I guess it's going to be a battlefield episode as we try to hold off our enemies. It's quite interesting how the AI tried to capitalize on the fact that Boris was away to do this, and I really like that. Granted, I think that it's an accident because, look at this. I mean, this is actually quite silly. These guys, the Bearsenlang, have been at war with the Ice Court this entire time, and they have a bunch of neighboring territories. Do they attack the Ice Court? No, they send both of their armies through to Karakungor, our territory, even though we don't actually share a border with them, only the Ice Court does. So they just completely ignored the AI, even though there's some easy takes here, like they could just take Volksgrad. It's not going to be able to defend itself. There's not a lot of difficult territories here. Same thing with the freaking von Karsteins. Look, Fortenhof right here, nobody defending it. There's probably other stuff that's near them that they're fighting with. And yeah, they just ignore that. And just ignore it completely. Or not the von Karstein, just Sylvania in general. Oh, and they're even at war with the dwarves who are right beside Castle Drakenhof in an unfortified Oakenhammer at level 1, which they could also easily take, but they ignore it to march both of their armies all the way through all this stuff and try to attack Set Karakungor. Huh. Maybe they'll turn around and attack Fort Jakova now that they're nearby. I don't know. Well, we might have screwed the Ice Court over a little bit by doing that, but I guess we'll have to find out next time. So with that said, as always, I do appreciate any and all feedback with regards to the gameplay or the way I do things on this channel. And don't forget to leave a like and comment for your friendly neighborhood heretic. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.